We'll get started. You go on yours and see if you see it on Facebook before I record.
Yeah. Yep.
It's on there.
Yeah.
Facebook before I record.
Yeah. Yep. Oh man, I've got echo. I'll fix. No, I've got.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another amazing session of entrepreneur education. I am excited again today to be here with you for a session that I am truly looking forward to learning more about. It is leveraging ChatGPT, contracts, proposals, and documents. So my name is Darlisa Diltz. I am the the chief entrepreneurship strategist for Foundations Entrepreneur Development Company, where we work with cities, municipalities, nonprofit organizations, and the community at large to develop and build out entrepreneur infrastructure. So through activities like this, we are also able to bridge the gap of education and entrepreneurship amongst our small business community. So I am extremely happy to have one of my dear industry colleagues and friends, partners here with us today. Talking about a subject that many of us are utilizing, I am sure, but he's going to give us some tips and tricks on how to actually leverage this. So without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Jason Madden, who will carry us forward. Welcome, Jason.
Yep. Thank you. My I will say my stomach's a little uncomfortable today, so I'm kind of making the best of it. But yeah, I'm super excited. I think AI has been really on the front of my mind, especially on the business side. So it's like it's just so invaluable. And now, if it was ever taken away, it would be like losing Google like 2 years ago. So that's kind of how ingrained I am with it. But yeah, so there's just to kind of go over all the platforms right now that are popular. So Perplexity is very popular. It is got good free options. ChatGPT, everyone's probably heard about. Um, Gemini is now pretty integrated with your Google searches. And if you use DuckDuckGo, that's another search platform that's even um, got its own version of AI. So it's just as we move forward, it's just going to become more in a part of our workflow without us having to actively go for it. But we're still at this transition point where if you want to get the best use out of it, you have to go outside to use it. So yeah, but anyway, I'm nerding out about it and like just trying to build with it because it's really on my interests. So yeah, but let me share my presentation. And Darlisa, can you tell me if it looks okay? Is it a weird size or is it okay?
What I see is like it's a grid, but it says proposal building,
Yes.
but I see your slides to the side as well.
Yeah, so my monitor is so wide, I can't do a full monitor because it'll make it blurry, I think. So uh I don't know if there's a way to get rid of it.
So if you do slideshow, it won't,
Let me try it and then you can tell me if it's bad. It's okay? Okay. Uh Yep. So the what we're going to focus on today is utilizing ChatGPT to build. You can really use it to build any sort of business document, but I'm going to use it to build a proposal. If you're not familiar, there is a web platform called Bonfire, um, and it is a way that local governments can post contracts in order to like they'll post requests for proposals for the public to look at and bid on. So um, it is, for me, it's a good platform because I have a lot of point and click build solutions that aren't quite ready to release to the general public. So I can go out and go for these. I don't always have that much success with them, but I also don't build proposals that often with them. So it's just kind of if I get in the mood to do it and feel like I need to, I go for it. So, but I'm going to kind of walk through that process on how I do it and then point out different tricks that I use. And then um, right now, I know the Zoom, we don't have, we had a little bit of issue getting the passcode, so not everyone may get the passcode for it. So I'm trying to keep an eye on the Facebook chat for the live stream on Darlisa's page. So if you have questions, post them there, and I'll try to pull it up. So yep. So just to kind of set up where I'm at with everything. So right now, I do a lot of consulting work on top of a platform that we've built, and it's called Flex Portal. So it gives us a lot of tools so that we can quickly build a bespoke system for businesses. Right now, our sweet spot with this is businesses that are around 10 to 25 employees. So we go in and kind of analyze their processes and operations, and then build a solution that helps kind of facilitate the movement of process of a project from start to end between different teams. So we help do that. But right now, I'm trying to make the jump over and converting this to software as a service on um, making the do-it-yourself tools a lot more user-friendly, and also kind of figuring out a onboarding and service delivery plan for people that don't want to actually build stuff themselves, that we kind of figure that in as a part of the subscription so that we can help people do that. But right now, we are in an alpha phase. So if you're interested in trying a really bare bones CRM, and right now I'm going to keep it free for a while just to get more people on it. But two major things we're adding to it right now is a connection with Zapier. And if you're not familiar with Zapier, that is a way to connect many different platforms together so that you can kind of centralize your data and kind of offload some of your tasks. And we're connecting to that, so that'll open a big door. And then also is to incorporate AI agents into it. So an agent is a fancy way of just saying that we are building workflows that incorporate AI to take care of manual tasks, but these are uh, they are very rigid. They're not like it's a AI creating its own task. We're creating specific workflows that will utilize AI. So um, I'll post the survey at the end, and I'm also kind of curious how everyone is currently using it, because right now we are trying to build a first pilot for it, and it right now we're trying to connect our CRM to that, and the first thing is to generate personalized emails. But the other option right now we are deciding on is if you enter a customer in, you provide the social media links, then you can have the AI go out and pull what that business is currently working on and what they're advertising, to pull it in both for research and also for sales. So my socials here too, I'm most active on Twitter and kind of on Facebook. The content's a little bit different between the two. And then also I started a Facebook group just to kind of share, hopefully have other people than just me share what they're doing with AI and to do tips and tricks. So Those are those things. So now to get into the content. So the goal of this at the end is we're gonna walk through how to set up a clear context for the generation of your document. Um, this will be a combination of you both uploading example proposals, any analytics, spreadsheets, or website content that you want to use in order to build out the proposal. Uh, Normally, you may not need the second step, but to understand the RFPs, but I'm pretty lazy when it goes to going through PDF. So I actually just upload the documents and have the AI summarize it. And also I kind of use that as the context of how to frame and build the document that I want to output. And then one major step is something that we can be blind to is gaps and maybe weak points for the proposal itself. So they may have a requirement there that you can easily go out and uh, either clear up or include that as a part of your work, and then finally we'll start building the proposal. So this last step is probably the most time-consuming part to go back and forth with the AI. Sometimes you can get stuck in loops where things aren't going right, but um, in order to get to the last step, it's really important to set up these first three correct. And then I will say, starting out with a very clear outline of what you want to generate will help the process at the end. And a lot of times, if you don't get that very clear, so like you almost need it in just a single chat message on that outline. If you get that wrong, you're almost just better off to start off a whole new chat because it will start getting confused about what it's doing. So that step is really clear. And then, yeah, so, okay. So right now, I'm just going to outline all the steps we're going to do, and then we're just going to jump into ChatGPT. So I'm going to go kind of quick over this, but just to kind of break it down step by step and um, just kind of do it as an example. So the first step is understanding the request. So we're going to upload the documents. We're going to ask the AI to identify the needs, and then also we can ask it clarifying questions to see what other information we need to pull. This is kind of like more exploratory, kind of what you would do normally if you just download the documents, read through it, kind of go through your other history of stuff you generated, and then see what is relevant. Second step is if there's any addendums or updates made to it, you want to do those immediately following the upload of that one, and then specifically say that this will affect what you just uploaded, and to note that this needs to be, included as a higher priority as the original. And then also, um, if you have any like market research or any relevant previous documents or portions of text that you want to add, it's a good point to add it here too. Determine your fit. So this part is where you just really get blunt with the AI and yourself. You want to ask, am I relevant with this? You know about my business and also the proposal. Is it worth us doing it? And then it will be on your side most of the time. So you have to specifically tell it to be blunt and to provide honest feedback and not just side with you. AI is really bad about being a little bit of a hype man. So every now, like, even through the chat, you have to tell it, just be blunt, be honest, and then kind of go from there. So, and then also this is where you can kind of act like it's a third party where they're a consultant or a coach and can give you feedback. addressing solution gaps. So if you, in this step, if you identify anything that you need to clean up, then make your plan about how you want to do it. If you just want to tell ChatGPT that is a part of the proposal, you want to point out those weak points and that you have a plan to fix it uh, after getting the proposal. That's normally so. Right now, we don't have a dedicated mobile app, and a lot of times I'll just put in we will build the mobile app as a part of this proposal, and as soon as we start, that will be our initiative. So at least to kind of like address the elephant in the room. Um, document review, response planning. Okay, so this is where kind of in the final couple steps we are uploading either if they've given you an outline to follow or if you want to you need to provide some sort of outline or you can generate it in ChatGPT. So you just want to address that here before you start generating the proposal. And then again, there's always going to be gaps that you keep running through. So just kind of keep it an iterative process. And as you go through, just up treat Chat GPT as a more of like a business as a partner versus just being uh, a chat like a search engine. So uh, outline. This is our final approval. The outline will generate it, and then um, make any tweaks as far as like the top level of it, and then the next part we'll dig in and actually fill in the content. That's really the final step, and then at the end you have a winning proposal. That's the goal. You'll probably have to take it and do a little bit of humanification to it. And also, if you include any sources in it, be sure to check them because ChatGPT is still very bad about making up links that look very legitimate, and also the sources it talks about. It will generate news articles that sound perfect, like something that someone would write and are relevant to what you're trying to do. But you go to the link, you can't find it anywhere. You can't find the title anywhere, and so that just means it literally um, generated it. So double check your sources. Just don't copy and paste it. And I'll in that part of the presentation. So now I'm going to go to Chat GPT. And anyone on the Zoom, would you mind saying whether or not the screen's clear and you can read the text, or is it blurry?
It looks clear.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I I'll walk through a little bit of how I have my subscription set up. I am on the $20 tier with this, so everything I I'm not sure what features I'm using that are on the free plan or the higher level plan. Um, so one really neat thing here is you can create projects. So I set up a project for my business, and what you can do with this is take it one step for. Okay, let me step back. So there's layers of customization that we're able to utilize. So the very first one here is that you define really how by default you want ChatGPT to act. So if you like very explanatory responses, you can tell that, or I prefer conciseness, and then I prefer to have like more informal language, so I include that in it as a part of it. And then also the about you section. So if you're a business owner or you have a job that you're trying to perform and you're using that mostly for that, you can provide these details to it to kind of give it a rounding about where you're at as far as your experience. Like if I've been developing for 15 years now, so I want the responses to be uh, more concise and specific as if I have more experience, and it just saves time waiting for it generating the text. So these I would these are very nice to have set up before we go to the next step, which is the project. So uh, I have different things set up, and right now, what I'm going to use for the proposal is one I have set up for my business. So um, if you just go to create and you can name it, that's all really in this step that you have to do. Um, so when you get here, I have added instructions about a little bit about what I'm working on, what my goals are, and then also um, what the goal of this subset of chats are going to be. So this is specifically for a little bit for marketing, and then for document generation. I have those two things kind of purpose built into this. For development stuff, I use different things. So this is really just focused on those two topics. If you get too broad with your goal for anything, it starts becoming less effective. So like just make sure you narrow your focus on it. And then in my file section, I uploaded my business plan, pricing sheets. Let's see what else. I had in another chat. I have it go and summarize my website. I put that in a document and then I upload it. So I used all of these tools to help build more knowledge about what my business is and what I do. And all of this will be provided in as a part of every chat within this project. Um, so, uh, is there anything else to talk about here? I think that's it for here. So now we're just going to jump right into building the proposal. So I I thought it would be best to just to walk through an example. So I feel like if you have your own document you're generating, it would, if you do it alongside this, and then if you have questions, then please ask. I would rather it be interactive, and then we can address anything. And then if you want to work through something live, we can also do that. And I'm going to check. If there's any questions, we're at a good point before I start digging into it. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to check. Nope. Okay. So my first step is going to be to upload my document. So I went through and downloaded all of these last night. So I've kind of worked through this as an example. So all of these were listed on Bonfire as some resources for what they are looking for to build. So this is specific to building a software solution for an internetwork to facilitate communication within Forest City. So there was about 20 documents, but I went through and identified I only wanted to care about the projects, and then that's what we're going to upload first. And then afterwards, they had directions about what they wanted on the proposal. So these will come in later. And some of this last night, it was running into errors on some of these. So I just opened them up and then copy and pasted the content in directly. So that works just as well as uploading. But we're just going to start with uploading it first. So the first prompt is analyze these documents for a proposal I want to write. Please summarize the request and ask any clarifying question. Okay, so my first prompt is just going to be analyze these documents for a proposal. So key thing is I'm giving it a goal for what I want as a result for my output, explaining what this is. So I'm influencing how it looks at and analyzes these documents versus just hitting the submit, which it would probably figure it out by submit, just hitting submit. But I just want to make sure that I'm very specific about what my request is, and then afterwards it may have its own questions to ask to clarify. But this we're going to kind of go back and forth a couple times to figure out what this proposal is that we're even doing. So give it a second. Hopefully we're not broken. Here we go. Okay. So it's and I did forget to show switching between the different models, so I'll point that out as well, because um, some models are better than others for certain tasks, and also it impacts the speed of the responses. So yeah, I get what while this is doing it. So when you open your chat, you can change the model for each question. So right now I am using the 4.5. This one is a little bit better than 4.0 for this the task that we're doing, but 4.0 still has other features that we may utilize later. So 4.5, like it has a description here. Kind of gave me the reason why I chose this one. These two, O3 Mini, O3 Mini High, if I get more technical with my questions or I want to interact with a spreadsheet of data, things like that, I'll use these two models. But for right now, this is a good one. So, uh, so now I've got the summary of what this is looking for, and it kind of points out the major highlights of the proposal. So, um, kind of sets up different problems that it would probably be pertinent to make sure I focus on trying to remedy on the with my solution, and then also here are the questions that it's asking me to clarify. So this will kind of go into validating that their requirements and what my business has meets each other. So all of my documents don't include anything about the security requirements. Do I offer this? Yeah. Uh, content management. Do I have native support? Blah blah blah. So these are kind of good things that I'll address here in a little bit. Um, and then also, as a part of their proposal process, they have a deadline. This is valid for all bonfire requests. They have a deadline to provide questions from you to them. So it noticed some gaps in what they're actually after, and all of these sound pretty reasonable to ask. So it at least gives you some idea of what to go for. And now I did kind of read through these, so I know a little bit what the document has, but it's always a good idea just to at least skim through it and make sure that what is here is relevant. So, um, okay, so the next step right now is that I want to be very specific and point out that these addendums are important to include, and that they take priority over anything that was ambiguous in the proposal itself. So uh, anything. It's order. So the order of operations, I'm telling it to use more recent documents. Um, as the deciding factor for anything that conflicts. So now we'll wait on this. Yeah, so okay. Okay, so this looks like it's the major change for those. Okay, so because I'm already in this Mad Logic project, ChatGPT already understands I'm probably going to use Flex Portal for this. And then the next question I'm going to ask it is, does Flex Portal address the proposals? Now, the further is what gaps are there that may need to be addressed? So this is the go or no go question. So if you get to this point and there's too many gaps, it's probably a decision to move on to the next one. So I'm utilizing AI to actually make the decision for me, and based on what it finds, uh, that align a lot of the commonalities it'll list through, but it's also going to give me the what I don't meet, and this is what I would need to focus on in the proposal to make sure that I have a plan for these areas and even want to decide if I want to build it in or not. So, and then like this that disaster recovery plan, this I have, but none of my documentation carries it. And then also like these requirements, I do have SOC 2, but then it doesn't know about it. So yeah, those are some gaps on the knowledge I've provided ChatGPT, and I'll provide it later. So, uh, okay, so what I'm going to tell it now is I'm hosting on Azure. So security compliance is met. And I am using Azure ASR. And Azure ASR is disaster recovery stuff. And then I do want to say, so I'll use this as an example. I don't integrate with Microsoft 365 currently. So I'm just going to say in my response, work on the integration with Office 365 as a part of the proposal. Okay. So now we're going to keep going back and forth and make sure that the alignment of Flex Portal and we address most of the issues in here. So okay, so we can go. I'll go ahead and start on the next step. So right now, I'm just going to run with what's here. A couple of these I would normally answer at this point. So I would try, if I were building this in my own kind of like time where I could really dedicate to it, I would address all of these. And then probably in the next chat have a resolution for all of these of some sort, and then move on to the next step. So, but I'm going to go ahead and just do it now. So now we have all of these questions we need to address. And then, yeah, so all of these, like, really, you would want to address all of these right now at this point. So I won't do that for the sake of time, but we'll move on to the next step. So, right, so now we have all of the context set up that we need to for the content to go into the proposal. And uh, be mindful that if there's anything you didn't provide it and you don't tell it to ask, it's just going to generate anything it wants that sounds like would make you win the proposal. So it will make stuff up, and we'll do a good job sounding like legitimate. So just be careful that it doesn't do that and kind of misrepresent you. Uh, so now this step, these documents were also provided on the request as suggestions on what to include in the proposal, any requirements for us to submit. So it'll provide some, either that we need to attach certifications, provide insurance documents, things like that. So it will ignore that part, but it will give us instructions to attach it. But things like these, it's better to take a human eye over. Use the chat to kind of give you a jump start on it, but it's always better to look at these. But my most important part of this is the proposer requirement. So yesterday, this step did not work because it wasn't able to analyze it, but we're going to ask it. So right now, the goal of us uploading these documents is to generate a proposal outline. So this step is really important to generate the format and content that you want. If you mix up your sections, or actually, if you do many modifications to this, it starts to get confused. So sometimes you may have to use this specific chat just to get the outline you want, and then essentially move to another chat, repeat all of everything that we've done up to this point, but then just copy and paste and say, this is the outline I want to follow. So that's a lesson learned, because when its memory starts, we're not too far into chat right now, but as you start getting deeper into it, it has to do more summaries when it makes its request. So the summaries start getting more compressed. So it's very similar to how our memory does. Like when you're fresh on a topic, you don't have that much you really have to recall when you've worked on it. But when you've worked on it for 5 or 6 months, stuff starts to get a little mushy. So it also happens with these chats too. So uh, so let's see. Let's go over here through it, and then we'll tweak one thing just to kind of show how I would tweak something in the proposal. Um, Okay, so I'm going to say on the implementation plan, there is something called telemetry that helps you monitor the health of the software. It did mention project monitoring, but at the delivery, we want to be able to measure how the system's performing. So I'm going to say I want to add that to the implementation plan. So uh, and then this is definitely more specific to what I do, but just to kind of like do this as an example of how you would want to go through and modify this. And one of the things that I really have a gripe with is every time it generates a proposal, is it will change sometimes really small details at this point and just it may just reword it so that it is similar, but like here it's even just changed a little bit of the formatting. It's made it a little bit more concise. Got rid of all the subpoints. So uh, got it. So he just did this. Okay, so now we're gonna say our outline is set up. We've got all of the data that we need for it to understand what proposal we're writing. We provided all of our um, questions and answers, so it's got everything it needs to know about this. So now we're just going to tell it. Actually, I posted. I'm going to copy and paste this real quick. Uh, I included this prompt in the presentation. This one is the one that I reuse a lot. The rest of the stuff leading up to this point, I don't really have a really structured copy and paste prompt for it, but this is the one. And the important part here is the audience. So if you know exactly who is going to be reading it and what type of um, right now, so I have a technical solution. Most of the time, I write very technical, and even when I speak, so it doesn't always translate well to someone that is just reviewing these proposals. They probably don't. You don't know, are they like a kindergartner with using computers, or are they uh, college level? So it's like you can define that in the parameter and it will adjust all of the language, and then your target audience is kind of met. So I'm just going to provide that it is likely a city manager who works with software and is with office tools, but not technical. So I'm kind of making an assumption here, but it just helps all the language and all the text is written for the right audience. And this to me is a step that is very hard for us who's very deep into business to make the leap to writing for your reviewer. So um, so another time save thing is if you ask it to work section by section, it will only go back and forth with you about specific pieces of it. And as you're going through and editing or changing the content at a high level, it saves you time because it's only generating that section. Oftentimes, if you have already generated the full proposal, it'll keep generating the proposal over and over, and you just have to sit there and waste time. So the time save is to do it section by section. And then when you are really happy with a section, I would take it and copy and put it in a Word document so that over time, if you get another several hundred messages in here, that you still have the copy you like the best. Okay. So I may have to go to a different one. So for now, I would answer most of these that it's asked, but some of them are a little bit uh, repeated from above. Probably I would have addressed these in the earlier section, so I wouldn't need to, but I'm just going to have it generate what it. So one another note on stuff getting a little funky. Over time, the chat will start trying will start writing for your eyes and not so much for the audience you're doing. So it's I try and do it every 4 to 5 messages is to remind it that I am speaking to the audience I listed before. So non-technical city manager that uses it for business, and that's about it. So uh, so here. So I will. So a couple of notes because I didn't provide the answers. I would have tweaked these. So SMS I have, but I wouldn't want to really promote it, so to speak. So it's made up that I comply with some of these things. So I would be a little dishonest if I just use this without going through and editing it. Uh, but for now, I think I'm going to just say accept this is a good thing. And actually, so this feature here is called, I think, ChatGPT Canvas, and it gives you a way that you can directly interact and change this as you would want to edit it, and then it will incorporate it as future chat. So if you don't like the language here or saying like, I'm going to take off SMS and push notifications, just for example here. And say, okay, so I'm going to say this section's good. We've edited it to how we want, and then we're going to move on. Um, there, 5 pages on it, all the documents. So already I can kind of tell it's generating something that's probably going to be way too long. This is more than likely a little bit over a page, and I'm not sure what the executive summary should be, so I would probably go and review that. But it feels like to really be able to talk about the solution, this is probably a little bit too much. So I would probably try and make this more concise, maybe not put all the detail in, that type of stuff, but I don't know. So now it's going to go through, we're on the next section. So these two, it made up completely. I do like it is true that I do have, it knows that I have a couple HIPAA things, but it completely made these up. So just an example of where it is kind of using it's just filling in stuff that sounds good and probably would make you win, but it's not legitimate. Um, so it knows this part, at least because I have this outlined in my business plan, and that is on my MedLogic project and not in the proposal itself. And then, yep. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to have it go ahead and generate everything else. Part of it is I'm running out of chat messages, but it'll finish it out, and then we will then just take it and move it into actual document. So uh, depending on the day, it will either generate a PDF or a Word document, or you just have to copy and paste it. One of the frustrating things right now to me is the formatting doesn't always copy and paste correctly. So uh, there is a trick around that, and I'll explain it here after it generates it. And it'll use the correct bullet styles and headings and stuff, because normally when you copy and paste it, it just takes the fonts that are on the page here, and this is just a web page, so it doesn't keep the formatting as if you would really want to organize a Word document. Version of this using headings, proper bullets. The bullets, I have pretty bad gripes about. We battle, and then also like ChatGPT really likes to use hyphenated sentences, and I feel like we don't really use them that much. So those are telltale signs that you use AI to generate it. So things like that, I try to have it not do, and then if it's there, I go through and clean it up. But even though everyone's using AI for documents, on the other end, we don't like the feeling that someone used AI to generate a document they're sending us because it's so impersonal. So trying to add the human touch and getting rid of the obvious things can help a little bit, but let's see, where's it at? Okay. So I'm going to edit this just a little bit because it really went too brief. And then after that, we'll generate the document. Couple of comments. So remember, so on the terms of service, when you sign up for ChatGPT, they do warn everyone that anything you do within the system, or if you upload documents, they're probably going to store those and then use that to train the models. So they're not, in the end, it's like security by obfuscation, and what that really means is like your stuff is just one of millions of things they've collected, and it goes in as something that trains the the language model and influences how it generates output, but it's not going to retain your information directly. It's like you've influenced the outcome, but it's not going to be able to generate it word for word. But with that in mind, I have uploaded like financial documents and also even my business plan. I've gotten lazier about it lately, but originally I would, I would change all the names of my business or any of my personal names. I would do it in a way that I could easily search and replace into Word because uh, I was a little paranoid, but now I've just kind of gave up on it because I'm lazy. But it that is a way that you can still use real data and then kind of make it confused about where it's coming from, and it just by doing that you've kind of made the breadcrumbs for tracing back to you a little bit more difficult. So okay, so I'm a lot happier with this build out. We need to double check our outline and make sure that we've covered everything. Let's see, I lost it. Where we at? Okay, implementation, risk and mitigation. So it has missed a couple of these sections. So it would build them in. Just tell it you forgot these two sections, three sections, disaster recovery. So it forgot a lot. It'll fill it in, but you have to go through and tell it to add it. So, uh, but I won't worry about that because I don't want to bore everyone to death on every detail on it. But here, this prompt is the one that will help you generate a document that's easy for you to edit. And also, you don't have to go through and clean up the formatting so that it. I really like having the outline generated on my Word document, so it's easy to jump between sections. Personal preference because I like the ease of navigating it, but I know that isn't necessarily always a requirement. But using headings will do that, so I like to do that. So now this prompt is a good copy and paste one. So Python is a programming language, and all of the AI models are behind the scenes have been supporting uh, Python as code. So you can tell it to use Python to generate things, and it will generate the code, and then it will also execute it so that you can see the results. And a lot of times when you ask it to use code, it reproduces the content a lot more consistently than having it regenerate as a response. So, oh. So while it's doing its thinking, here you can see how it uh, spits it all out. So the headings, paragraph, all of the formatting is nice. So actually, let me put these into the chat. So then, so yeah, once this is done, we'll get a download, and essentially we've kind of utilized ChatGPT as much as we needed to. Now let's just go into our Word document and editing it. And then uh, it's best for you to manage um, storing the content you like. You can go back in the chat and pull it, but it won't always use that in future chats. So if there's a section you really like, just kind of like emphasizing that. And then I'm going to stop share for just a second so I can show the final document. Share. Okay, so I'll use that. Okay, so enable editing. Okay, so see, uh, because I used Python to generate and told it to specifically to use headings, so now we have where if you go to view outline, whoop, nope. Layout. I want to go to view navigation pane. So now it's kind of broken it all out. We can go through the sections. Did it do the good job on the bullets? Yeah. Okay. Nope. So still a little funky on the bullets, but it's not too bad. So this is the final version of what we gave it, what it gave us back. So we didn't spend a lot of time going through and really meticulously helping it with the content. So it just spit out the best it could. But we're at 3 pages. We have a little bit more room to expand. Probably I would expand more. Well, it missed those few sections, and then are these fine? I would probably go into a little bit more details on implementation, but yeah. So I think as far as what I had planned to talk about, that is it. So if I'll leave it open for Q&A if anyone has anything, but otherwise, uh, that is kind of what I had.
Man, Jason, that was phenomenal. Like, I am sitting here and I have like so many notes. Um, and this is recorded, so we're definitely going to put this out for playback. So one of the questions I had, and you mentioned it super earlier, and maybe you do or don't know the answer to this question, but paid versus unpaid, right? Here is where I have confusion.
Okay.
I am a novice to the whole ChatGPT world, trying to make it where I'm not that. But how do I know if I am just doing the general stuff? Is there like a button that I should be clicking that says now you're using your paid feature options versus me putting my information in and I'm just getting the simplistic? So
Yep.
can you speak to that?
Yep. So if you make a new chat, the biggest thing is going to be which models you have access to. So if you open up and look at your options, so this is I use the limit. So right now I'm limited on the 4.5. I don't even know that may not even be a feature for the free plan. Uh, these are I think are also they are limited for me, so I don't even know if they have these open to the free version. I think actually you know what, let me open. I'll make a new account and we can just kind of go through it. Maybe that's easiest. Just give me one moment. Okay, so
While he's looking, if anyone has any questions in the chat or would like to say anything, go ahead and thank you, Marion. Yes, we will get that recording out for sure. Thank you for joining us.
all right. Can I do? We're just gonna do that one. Okay. All right. So free account. First thing I noticed, there's no project here. So what I was using to upload my documents to kind of have a very actually let me change how I'm sharing real quick. Okay, can you see this well enough that it's not
It was very small. It's very small.
okay? So let me do, okay, I'll go back. Okay, so the project feature is not here. So I use the project again to make the very specific rules for how I was going to use that chat. So for what I was showing, it has my business plan uploaded, pricing sheet. I went to my website and pulled some of the content off of there, just so it kind of knew what basic services I use. And actually, that step I just copied into a Word document. I just started at the top of the page, scrolled all the way down, and did a copy paste, and just let ChatGPT figure it out. I didn't go into any depth with it. So, uh,
And that's on the paid.
yes, yep. The
Okay.
$20 one. I did try the $200 one last month, and it was fun, but it wasn't worth the extra money. It was like I had a
Listen,
few things that I wouldn't have been able to do on this plan on that plan, but I didn't want to keep it that long. But
listen,
uh,
$200 for ChatGPT, it better be.
oh, it had some cool stuff, but it's just not quite there yet. So customized Chat GPT. This is good to fill out. How many? What's the word limit? So that you can set up. I kind of showed this, but this tells you how you want it to interact with you. So if you have a certain expertise level, you can give it a little bit of how much detail to go into things. So if you're new, let's say you're new and you're trying to do software development, you can tell it that you're using ChatGPT to learn and that you need it to explain concepts as it goes through and makes examples. Then it's going to give you a lot more detail about some of the specifics. Whereas me, I just want to copy and paste it and not worry about that because more than likely I understand what it's doing. It's just I don't want to have to wait for it to chat. And then this is where you can put your background, kind of like your LinkedIn profile, just copy and paste it for something to start. There is a word limit or a character limit here. It's 500. I think it's 500 on the paid plan. So I wonder, let's see how, we'll see if there's a limit here. 1,500. Oh, okay. So maybe it's 5,000 characters on the other one. I don't remember. Uh, There's another feature. I'll show it, but it's called custom GPTs. you can't even see it here. You can go and explore them and search for people. People make very specific ones. So like a data analyst one, it's going to already have things set up so that if you upload a spreadsheet, it's already going to be aware it needs to make sense of the data. So if you're doing like a trend, let's say you're doing sales trending over the last 2 years and then finding your best months, the worst months over like 4 or 5 years, something like that, use this one. And you can just upload the data, it'll generate it. Um, you might have to be careful about it, doing bad results or picking the wrong columns, but if you can kind of give it guidance, it works pretty well. So the create button's out. So I'll show what that interface looks like too. So
That's
let me see.
awesome.
Let me
This is
go.
this is great.
Uh, Go ahead.
No, I was just saying this is great. All great.
So
So
right now we don't have any extra models we can select, whereas on the paid plan you have like 5 or 6. So that's another difference. So you're really just getting the free version. So I don't know what one it is, but yeah.
right. Well, this again, like I said, it was amazing. Thank you so much for all of this shared knowledge. And I encourage anyone watching online or that was able to join us via the Zoom to please reach out to Jason. Jason, be sure to put your contact information in the chat and we will add that to the reposting of all of the information. Because we did have those technical difficulties, we will be sending out the recording and Jason's contact information to all of those that registered via the Zoom account. And as Jason mentioned earlier, he is offering a beta for his CRM technology. So if that is something that you're interested in as a company or a small business and you want additional information there, please, please, please reach out to Jason to utilize that service as well. But if there are no additional questions, Jason, do you want to close us out with any final thoughts?
Uh yeah, I think AI is great, but it's not going to replace. It makes us more productive, but it's not going to replace people's jobs yet. We're still a little ways away for it, but it's uh, right now in the tech world. I will say that people that are not using it are kind of frowned upon if you're trying to find new jobs. So I definitely think incorporating it in your workflow to get experience with it kind of sets you apart from a lot of other people right now. So, um, but yeah, so very exciting, uh, very fun to use, and use it. It's interesting. Use it for things outside of just work. So like, I've generated workout plans, meal plans because I get tired of searching the recipe sites. It's like if you have diet criteria you're trying to meet, then it can generate some pretty cool ones. And I don't like a lot of ingredients because I get tired of mixing it, but I'll say use 5 ingredients and make a recipe for like a casserole, and it does pretty good. So uh,
So
just
you
odd
are like
ways.
all things chat, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So
okay.
I don't know, yeah, but the more you use it, the more you'll get the feel for it. So
Well, that is awesome. Thank you so much, Jason, again for your time and your expertise today. And I am looking forward to continuing in this conversation as well as our partnership in the future. So thank
yeah.
you all for attending. Jason has put his contact information in the chat for you. I'm going to actually copy this over to our stream. Oh, so there was a,
Oh yeah.
well, Tandra is watching online and she asked about some of the features in the $200 plan. So I'm going to put Jason's contact information in the chat box as well so that you all can um, access that from the social recording. And then I hope you all have an amazing weekend.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't know how to get back to my Zoom screen. What do you see, Jason?
Oh, can I close it out? No, I can't.
Yeah, I don't see my Zoom
Do
thing.
you have a thumbnail on the top right of your screen, or is it completely gone?
Oh my gosh. Let me see. Oh, there you go.
Alt
Found you.
F4.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much, Jason.
Yep,
I
thank
will.
you.
All righty. Bye bye.